AITA for refusing to give my brother my kidney. He needs a transplant, and I'm a match. He hasn't spoken to me in 5 years because I'm gay. Now he wants my kidney and says family comes first. My parents are calling me selfish and saying I'm letting him die over a disagreement. I'm 32M, and I'm being torn apart by my family over a decision I thought was pretty straightforward, but apparently I'm the worst person alive, so I need outside perspective. My brother Nathan's 35. We were close growing up, best friends, really, did everything together. He was the person I looked up to most in the world. When I was 27, I came out as gay. I'd known for years, but was terrified to tell my family. My parents are very religious, and I knew it wouldn't go well, but I couldn't keep living a lie, so I told them. My parents were devastated. Lots of crying, lots of Bible verses, lots of this is a choice, and we raise you better than this. It was horrible, but not unexpected. They said they needed time to process and asked me not to flaunt my lifestyle around them. Nathan's reaction was worse. He told me I was disgusting, that I was in hell, that I betrayed our family and everything we believed in. He said he couldn't have a gay brother and that unless I fixed myself and came back to God, he wanted nothing to do with me. I tried to talk to him, tried to explain that this was who I'd always been, that I was still his brother, that nothing had actually changed except his knowledge of my life. He said everything had changed and he didn't want me around his kids. He didn't want them influenced. That was 5 years ago. Nathan hasn't spoken to me since. Not a word. I've been blocked on everything. When I show up to family events, he leaves. At our grandmother's funeral 3 years ago, he refused to sit near me. My parents have stayed in contact with me. Barely. It's strained. They're polite but distant. They've made it clear they don't approve of my lifestyle, but they won't completely cut me off like Nathan did. I've learned to accept the bare minimum from them. I've built a life. Without them, I have an amazing partner, David, who I've been with for 4 years. We have a great group of friends. I have a career I love. I don't need my birth family's approval anymore. 2 months ago, my mom called, said she needed to talk to me about something important. I thought maybe she was finally ready to have a real relationship. Instead, she told me Nathan is in kidney failure. His kidneys are functioning at less than 15%, and he needs a transplant soon. I said I was sorry to hear that and asked about donor lists. She said the wait for a cadaver kidney is years and Nathan doesn't have that kind of time. They've been testing family members, and so far no one's been a match. Then she asked if I'd be willing to get tested. I was surprised she even asked, "Does Nathan know you're calling me?" He knows we're testing all family members. That's not what I asked. Does he know you're specifically asking me? She hesitated. He's not happy about it, but he's desperate. I told her I'd think about it. She said time was critical and I needed to decide quickly. I talked to David about it. He said it was completely my choice, but that I should think carefully about what I was signing up for. Major surgery, recovery time, potential complications, all for someone who treated me like garbage for 5 years. I decided to get tested, not because I decided to donate, but because I wanted to know if I even was a match before making any decisions. I was a perfect match. The doctor said it was rare to find such a compatible donor match, even among siblings. My kidney would give Nathan the best possible outcome. When I told my mom, she cried with relief, said this was an answer to prayers, said God had put me in Nathan's life for this exact purpose. I said I hadn't decided yet if I was going to donate. She was shocked. What do you mean you haven't decided? You're a match. He's your brother. He's the brother who hasn't spoken to me in 5 years, who told me I was disgusting, who won't let me near his kids. He was hurt and confused. You have to understand, this was hard for him to process. It's been 5 years, Mom. That's not processing, that's a choice. She said I was being petty, that this was life or death, that family comes first no matter what. I said family should have come first when Nathan decided to disown me for being gay. She started crying and said I was being cruel, that Nathan was sick and I was holding a grudge when he needed me most. I told her needed time to think and hung up. 2 days later, my dad called. He said I was being selfish, that whatever problems Nathan and I had could be worked out later, but right now he needed a kidney and I was letting my pride get in the way of saving his life. I said it wasn't pride, it was self-respect. Nathan had made it clear I wasn't his brother anymore. Why should I go through major surgery for someone who hates me? My dad said Nathan doesn't hate me. He just doesn't agree with my choices. I said my sexuality isn't a choice, and this was exactly the problem. My dad said now wasn't the time for that argument. His son was dying, and his other son could save him, but was refusing out of spite. I wasn't refusing. I was thinking about it, but my dad's guilt trip made me angry. Then Nathan called me. First time I'd heard his voice in 5 years. He said, "I hear you're a match." Yeah, I need that kidney. Not, "I'm sorry for how I treated you." Not, "I was wrong." Just, "I need that kidney." I said, "That's it? After 5 years of not speaking to me, that's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? That I accept your lifestyle? I don't, but I need a kidney and you're my brother. Family helps family. You said I wasn't your brother anymore. You said you wanted nothing to do with me. That was different. This is life or death. So when you needed to punish me for being gay, family didn't matter. But now that you need something from me, suddenly family comes first. He got angry, said I was being difficult on purpose, that he was dying and I was making it about my feelings, that a good person would help regardless of past issues. I asked if he'd even considered apologizing for how he'd treated me. He said he had nothing to apologize for. He'd stood by his beliefs, and I'd chosen my lifestyle over my family. I told him I didn't choose to be gay any more than he chose to be straight. He said that was irrelevant right now. Right now he needed a kidney, and I was wasting time being petty. I hung up on him. My phone has been blowing up ever since, my parents calling and texting constantly, my aunt and uncle weighing in, family friend from church messaging me on Facebook, all saying the same thing. I'm selfish. I'm cruel. I'm letting my brother die over a disagreement. I need to be the bigger person. I need to show Christian charity and forgiveness. But here's what nobody is saying. Nathan should apologize. Nathan should acknowledge he was wrong too. Cut me out of his life. Nathan should show even the smallest amount of remorse for how he's treated me. David says I shouldn't donate. He says Nathan and my family have shown me exactly who they are and that giving Nathan my kidney won't change that. He says after the transplant, Nathan will go right back to not speaking to me. Except now, I'll have one kidney and permanent health implications. My best friend says the same thing. She says no one is entitled to your organs, even family, especially family that treats you like garbage. But I keep thinking about Nathan dying, about his kids growing up without a father, about whether I can live with myself if I say no and something happens to him. My mom sent me a long email about how she's praying I'll do the right thing, how God is testing me, how this is my chance to show real love and forgiveness. But why do I have to be the one to show love and forgiveness? Why doesn't Nathan have to show any growth or change? Why am I the one who has to be the bigger person when he's the one who rejected me? My dad left me a voicemail saying that if I don't donate and Nathan dies, I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life, that the family will never forgive me, that I'll be the son who let his brother die out of spite. But is it spite to have boundaries? Is it spite to say that someone who's treated you horribly for 5 years doesn't get to demand a piece of your body? Nathan's wife called me yesterday. She was crying, begging me to reconsider, talking about their 3 kids and how they need their father. I felt terrible. Those kids didn't do anything wrong. They're innocent in all this. But they're also being raised by a man who taught them that their uncle is disgusting and sinful. Nathan has made sure those kids don't know me. If I saw them on the street, they wouldn't recognize me. I'm being torn apart here. Half of me feels like I'm being vindictive and that saving someone's life should come before hurt feelings. The other half feels like I'm being manipulated by people who've shown me zero respect or love for 5 years. So I need to know from objective people. AITA for refusing to give my kidney to my brother who disowned me for being gay and has never apologized. Update 2 weeks later. I wasn't expecting the overwhelming response to my post. Thank you to everyone who took the time to comment. I've read every single one and I've done a lot of thinking. Here's what's happened since I posted. I decided I needed to have one final conversation with Nathan. Not because I owed him anything, but because I needed to know I'd given him every chance to do the right thing. I called him and said I'd meet him in person to discuss the kidney donation. He agreed immediately, and we met at a coffee shop the next day. I barely recognized him. He's lost a lot of weight, and he looks sick, pale, tired, older than his 35 years. Part of me felt immediate sympathy. The other part reminded myself that his appearance doesn't erase 5 years of cruelty. I sat down and said, I'm willing to consider donating my kidney. But before I make any decision, I need to know, do you regret how you've treated me for the past 5 years? He looked uncomfortable. Can we not do this right now? I'm dying. I need to focus on getting better. Answer the question. Do you regret cutting me out of your life? Do you regret telling me I was disgusting? Do you regret keeping me away from your kids? Long silence. Then I did what I thought was right at the time. I was protecting my family. From what? From me being gay. From that lifestyle, yes, my kids don't need to be confused about. I stood up. We're done here. He grabbed my arm. Wait, please. I'll say whatever you want me to say. I'll apologize. Just please, I need that kidney. You'll say whatever I want? So you don't actually mean it. You just want to manipulate me into giving you my kidney. I'm desperate. What do you want from me? You want me to pretend I'm okay with your lifestyle? Fine. I'm okay with it. There. Can we move forward now? I pulled my arm away. You don't get it. I don't want a fake apology. I wanted my brother to love me for who I am. But that's never going to happen. So no, Nathan, you can't have my kidney. He started yelling, causing a scene in the coffee shop, said I was killing him, that I was a murderer, that this was exactly the kind of selfish, sinful behavior he'd expected from someone like me. I walked out. My parents showed up at my house that evening. They'd heard from Nathan that I'd refused. My mom was hysterical. My dad was furious. My dad said, "You're really going to let your brother die because he doesn't approve of your lifestyle?" I said, "I'm going to let my brother experience the consequences of his choices. He chose to cut me out of his life. He chose to treat me with contempt. He chose to never apologize or show any growth. Those were his choices. This is mine. My mom begged, literally got on her knees and begged me to reconsider. Said she'd already lost one son to sin. She couldn't lose another to death. That hurt. She saw my sexuality as losing me. Even though I was standing right there, she'd already lost me in her mind. I told him to leave. My dad said I was dead to him, that if Nathan died, I was no longer his son. My mom said she'd pray for my soul. They left. I closed the door and broke down. David held me while I cried. The next few days were brutal. Messages from relatives, people from my parents' church, even Nathan's in-laws, all saying I was heartless, that I was committing murder by inaction, that I'd burn in hell for this. Then something unexpected happened. My cousin Rachel reached out. She's my age, and we've been close as kids, but drifted apart. She said she'd heard about the situation and wanted me to know she supported my decision. She said Nathan had also cut her off 2 years ago when she got divorced. He called her a failure and said she'd broken her covenant with God. She said our uncle had needed financial help last year and Nathan had refused, saying it was his own fault for being irresponsible with money. She said Nathan had a pattern of being judgmental and cutting people off when they didn't meet his standards. But the moment he needed something, suddenly family mattered again. She said, you don't owe him anything. He made his choices. You get to make yours. That helped more than she knows. I also heard from Nathan's wife's sister, of all people. She sent me a message saying she didn't agree with Nathan's treatment of me and that she was sorry I was being pressured. She said Nathan's wife was desperate and scared, which she understood, but that didn't make it okay to harass me. She said she'd been trying to convince Nathan for years to reconcile with me, but he'd refused. She said this situation was his own making. Even David's parents weighed in. They called to check on me and told me they supported whatever decision I made. David's mom said, your body is yours. No one gets to make you feel guilty for having boundaries, not even dying family members. I made my final decision 3 days ago. I'm not donating my kidney. I sent an email to my parents and Nathan explained my decision. I said, I'm not donating my kidney to Nathan. This isn't about revenge or spite. This is about recognizing that I don't owe my body to someone who has shown me nothing but contempt for 5 years. Nathan had countless opportunities to apologize, to show growth, to be a brother to me. He chose not to. That was his choice. This is mine. I hope Nathan finds another donor. I genuinely do, but it won't be me. Don't contact me again. I blocked all their numbers after sending it. The fallout has been significant. My parents have apparently told their entire church that I'm letting Nathan die. I've gotten hateful messages from people I don't even know. Someone left a note on my car calling me a murderer, but I also got messages of support. Rachel has been checking in daily. A few other relatives have quietly reached out saying they understand my decision, even if they can't say so publicly. David's family has been incredible. Nathan is still looking for a donor. According to Rachel, who heard from another cousin, he's on the transplant list and they're testing more distant relatives. I hope he finds someone, I really do. Not for his sake particularly, but for his kid's sake, but it won't be me. Update 4 months later. It's been 4 months since I refused to donate my kidney. A lot has happened and I want to give a final update. Nathan found a donor. His wife's brother turned out to be a match and donated his kidney 2 months ago. The surgery went well and Nathan is recovering. He's expected to make a full recovery. I found this out through Rachel, not through my parents. They still aren't speaking to me. When I heard Nathan had gotten his transplant, I felt relief. I was genuinely glad he'd found a donor and that he'd be okay. Despite everything, I never wanted him to die, but I also felt validated in my decision. Nathan's brother-in-law stepped up, someone who wanted to help him, who had a good relationship with him, who made that choice freely. That's how it should be. About 3 weeks after Nathan's surgery, I got a message from his wife. She said Nathan was recovering well and that she wanted to thank me for at least getting tested. Even though I didn't donate, she said she understood my decision better now and that she was sorry for the pressure I'd been under. That was unexpected and surprisingly healing. Then last week, something else unexpected happened. Nathan reached out. He sent me an email, a long one. In it, he said that nearly dying and going through the transplant had given him a lot of time to think. He said he'd been talking with a counselor his doctor recommended and had started processing a lot of things. He said he was sorry. Actually, sorry. He said that cutting me out of his life for being gay was wrong. That he'd been raised with certain beliefs, but that didn't excuse how he treated me. He said he'd spent 5 years being angry and self-righteous when he should have been my brother. He said he understood why I didn't donate my kidney, that he didn't deserve it, that if the situation were reversed, he wouldn't have donated to me, and that realization had been crushing. He said he didn't expect me to forgive him or have a relationship with him, but he wanted me to know he was sorry and that he was trying to be better. I didn't respond right away. I needed time to process. David and I talked about it extensively. He said it was up to me whether I wanted to give Nathan a chance, but to be cautious, that one apology doesn't undo 5 years of rejection. I decided to respond. I said I appreciated his apology and that I hoped he was genuinely working on himself, but that I wasn't ready for a relationship yet. That trust takes time to rebuild. And he destroyed ours completely. He wrote back saying he understood and that he'd respect whatever boundaries I needed. We've exchanged a few emails since then. Nothing deep, just surface-level updates. He told me about his recovery. I told him about a promotion I got at work. It's awkward and tentative, but it's something. I don't know if Nathan and I will ever have a real relationship again. Part of me hopes we will someday. Part of me knows that even if he's genuinely changed, the damage might be too deep to fully repair. But here's what I know for certain. I made the right choice in not donating my kidney. If I donated before Nathan did this work on himself, before he genuinely confronted his behavior, it would have been for nothing. He would have taken my kidney and gone right back to cutting me out of his life. I would have sacrificed my health and safety for someone who saw me as a spare parts bin, not a brother. By saying no, I forced Nathan to face consequences. I showed him that he couldn't treat people horribly and then expect them to sacrifice for him when it was convenient. And apparently, that wake-up call was what he needed to start genuinely examining his behavior. I'm not saying my refusal is why he changed. The near-death experience, the counseling his wife's brother's sacrifice, all of that probably played a bigger role. But I do think my boundary was necessary. For me, and maybe for him too. My parents still aren't speaking to me, Rachel. Says they tell people at church that both their sons are lost. One to illness, one to sin. They apparently can't forgive me for refusing to donate. That hurts, but I've accepted it. They've chosen their judgment over their son. That's their choice to live with, not mine. David and I got engaged last month. We're getting married next spring. It'll be a small wedding. His family, our friends, Rachel, and a few other supportive relatives. My parents and Nathan won't be invited. Maybe someday that will change. Maybe Nathan's growth will continue and we'll rebuild something. Maybe my parents will eventually realize that loving me doesn't require agreeing with me. But even if none of that happens, I'm okay. I have a life full of people who love me for exactly who I am. I have a partner who supports me unconditionally. I have 2 healthy kidneys and no regrets. Nathan is alive. He has his health back, and I didn't have to sacrifice myself to make that happen. Someone else in the comments on. My original post said something that really stuck with me. You're not responsible for saving people who pushed you off the cliff. Nathan pushed me off a cliff 5 years ago when he rejected me for being gay. He expected me to climb back up and save him when he needed me. But I didn't owe him that. I don't owe anyone my body, my health, or my sacrifice, especially people who show me they don't value me. I chose myself, and that was the right choice. Final update, 10 months post-decision. This is my final update because everything has reached a clear resolution. Nathan and I have rebuilt a cautious relationship. We have coffee once a month. He's met David a few times and has been respectful, if not entirely comfortable. He's still working with his counselor and has made genuine progress on unpacking his beliefs about sexuality and acceptance. He told me last month that he started having conversations with his kids about me, age-appropriate ones, but honest. His oldest asked why they'd never met Uncle Jay before, and Nathan told him the truth, that he'd made a mistake in pushing me away and was trying to fix it. I've met his kids once, briefly. It was awkward, but not hostile. I don't know if I'll ever have a real relationship with them. But it's something more significantly. Nathan has started volunteering with the PFLAG chapter. He reached out to them asking how he could be better and ended up joining as a parent try to learn. He says listening to other parents talk about their gay kids has helped him understand what he put me through. I'm proud of him for doing that work. It doesn't erase the past, but it shows me he's genuinely trying to change. My parents are a different story. They found out Nathan and I are speaking again and called him angry that he was endorsing my lifestyle. Nathan apparently told them that his lifestyle wasn't their business and that they needed to examine their own hearts. They haven't spoken to him since. So now they've cut off both sons, me for being gay, him for accepting me. Rachel says they're increasingly isolated at church because their judgment has pushed away multiple family members and even some of their congregation. She says they're bitter and angry and blame everyone but themselves. I feel sad for them. They've chosen their interpretation of religion over both their children. They're missing out on my life, Nathan's recovery, future grandchildren, all of it. And for what? To maintain their sense of righteousness? But that's their choice. I can't fix it for them. David and I got married 3 months ago. It was perfect, small, intimate, full of people who genuinely love us. Nathan came. He stood up during the ceremony when David's brother asked if anyone objected to the marriage, and for a second my heart stopped. But he stood to say, I don't object. I celebrate. Welcome to the family, David. Then he sat back down. I cried. David cried. Half the room cried. After the wedding, Nathan pulled me aside and said, I'm sorry I wasn't here for your journey. I'm sorry I missed years of your life. I'm sorry I wasn't the brother you deserved, but I'm here now if you'll have me. I said yes, not because everything is fixed, but because he's showing up and doing the work. Here's what I want people to take from my story. You don't owe anyone your body. You don't owe anyone your sacrifice. Not even family, especially not family that's hurt you. Setting that boundary with Nathan, refusing to give him my kidney, was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it was also one of the most important. If I donated out of guilt or pressure, I would have reinforced to Nathan that he could treat me terribly and still get what he wanted from me. I would have sacrificed my health for someone who saw me as less than human. By saying no, I showed Nathan that actions have consequences, that relationships are two-way streets, that you can't reject someone for years and then expect them to save you. And ironically, that boundary is what led to Nathan's growth. He had to face what he'd done. He had to sit with the fact that his brother wouldn't sacrifice for him because he destroyed their relationship. That reckoning changed him. I'm not saying everyone in Nathan's position would have that realization. Some people would just get angrier. But for Nathan, it was the wake-up call he needed. My kidney is still in my body, functioning perfectly. Nathan has his brother-in-law's kidney, also functioning perfectly. We both got what we needed him at Transplant. Me, my self-respect and boundaries. And we're building something new. Not the relationship we had before. That's gone. But something different. Something based on honesty and respect and mutual effort. My parents made their choice. Nathan made his, and I made mine. I chose myself, and I'd make that choice again every single time. To anyone facing pressure to sacrifice for family that's hurt them, your boundaries are valid. Your body is yours. Your worth is not determined by how much you're willing to sacrifice for people who don't value you. Choose yourself. It's not selfish, it's survival. That's the end of my story. Nathan is healthy. I'm healthy. We're building a relationship. My parents are gone, and I've made peace with that. I have no regrets.